after, yeah, from your bio, I can tell you've had some really good opportunities too. So when I hit record, I'm just going to read the bio that we have for you.
Okay.
Welcome you to the show. My first question is always kind of getting a little more background on how you got into doing what you're doing. So I'll be asking, a question about that. Then, of course, we'll be talking on the topic of government funding. Um, at the end, I'm going to ask if you have an offer that you would like to share with our listeners. That could be whatever, you want to share, whether it's, a link to a free download or connect with you and have a consult, whatever that might be. And how they can connect with you, whether you want to share social media or phone number, website, you could share all of that.
Great.
Then at the end, it's going to sound like I'm closing. I'm going to thank you for being on the show. I'm going to thank the guests for listening. But then I always ask a bonus question, and we use that as additional content. So we will have one more question after it sounds like we're ending, and then that will be the end of the show.
Okay, so in other words, we'll officially end, and then you and I will do a little bonus thing.
We'll have
Gotcha.
Exactly one more question. And then I usually record about 25 to 30 minutes, give or take.
Whatever you want.
So we'll just see how it goes.
Okay.
And then
Just
small
pull,
business
pull the plug if
entrepreneur.
I get boring. That's all.
But the small business entrepreneur is our target audience.
Oh,
That's
okay,
who
great.
Listens, the solopreneur, or they may
Right.
have a partnership, or
Yeah.
they may be an entity, but it's not like a big company
Right.
that we're talking
Gotcha.
to. So.
I'm ready.
Any final questions?
Yes. When will this chaos leave?
Yeah, and actually at the end I could tell you a little bit more information about what will happen after we finish recording. And the details on that. But
Okay.
But if you're ready to go, I can go ahead and start the recording.
Absolutely. Sorry again.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. Matthew Lesco, a seasoned author, advocate, and educator with over 30 years of experience, is renowned for helping Americans access government benefits and financial resources. Famous for his signature question mark suit and energetic personality, he has sold over 4 million books and appeared on major TV shows like Oprah and Larry King Live. Currently, he leads Lesco Help, a community dedicated to guiding people in navigating government aid programs. In his 80s, Matthew continues to passionately empower individuals to achieve financial stability through government funding opportunities. So Matthew, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Candy. Boy, what a great name.
Thank you. I like it.
I wish I had that.
Well, actually, your name is my son's name, too.
Oh,
so
it
that's
is?
a great
Well,
name as well.
I'm close anyway.
I'm so glad that you're here today to talk on this topic. But before I get into questions that I have for you, I would love to ask you, what inspired you to dedicate your career to helping people access government funding?
Greed.
Okay.
My greed. I want to find a way to support myself. I got an MBA and I was failing everything. Back in the 70s, I was a computer science professor. And, I had a software company that failed and another company that failed. Everything was failing. And thank God, though. I mean, that's the best thing that happens to you. That's why if you're out there trying to do something in life, you've got to get out and fail. If you're not failing, you're not doing anything, because you don't know. None of us know exactly what to do, and experts that tell us what to do, they don't know either. Right? Everybody doesn't even know what to do with their own life, but they love to take your money to tell you what to do with your life. Now, what is that? Has to be the height of audacity to think that you could tell somebody else what to do with their life. They're struggling so much, like the rest of us. So it's really, life is trial and error, and I think the key is that you don't spend money doing it. Because if you think, oh, this is going to be great, and you go out and spend all this money, it probably won't be. And so you have to test out things without spending money, so you could stay in the game. The only thing to me about success is staying there long enough till you figure it out. I used to look at all the idiots I've worked for. They have their own business. They're not smart. And so the key is you stay long enough to figure it out for you. And so actually, so when those failed, I became a consultant. And when you want to sell your services, the best place to go is people with a lot of money, because they don't want to do shit. And they'll pay for anything so they don't have to do it. So I was helping Fortune 500 companies get money for their business and grow and anything they want to do in life. And I was in Washington. This is before the internet, so it's not like today. So I go to libraries to do the research to find stuff. I don't know if you remember libraries, but they're still around.
Of course, card catalogs.
Right, exactly. And so I'd go there, and the libraries in Washington are all part of government agencies, and they have the best libraries in the world because, you want agriculture, you go to the agricultural library. You want some overseas, you go to the State Department library. So all these things. And I'd go in there and be researching, like I remember Procter and Gamble or somebody wanted to invest in Maine potatoes. And so I'm doing research, trying to find studies and all this kind of stuff about the market for Maine potatoes. And the librarian sees me and said, hey, no, you should go down the hall and talk to Charlie Porter down here. I said, who's Charlie Porter? Well, he's the government expert on Maine potatoes. Jesus, that shocked me. So I went down there, and a delightful man, and he's got a PhD in agricultural economics or something. Been studying Maine potatoes for 15, 20, 30 years. A high-level federal employee. And he was just wonderful. I mean, he was just giving me studies that the government spent millions of dollars on that I would take and get to my clients. And the problem wasn't getting the information. The problem was getting out of his office, because he's been studying this for so long. Nobody's ever asked him. His wife is sick of hearing about it. Government forgets he's there. And so, man, I mean, what surprised me, a schmuck like me from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, barely got through college, is able to walk in offices and get all this stuff for millionaires to become billionaires. And I grew up in a place called Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, a little coal mining town, and I'm a grandson of coal mining immigrants. And I didn't think somebody like me could do all this stuff or get this information. And I said, God. So after that, that was my first successful business. It grew from me and a desk in my apartment to 30 people on K Street in Washington, D.C., like all the other sharks selling government stuff. And I said, I got to concentrate on helping the average person know about these resources that are available to anyone, just because you live in this country. And what I've learned since then, that our country is made up, 40% of all the organizations in our country that are here to provide goods and services and things like that to the rest of us, 40% of them give free money and help. So 40% don't charge you anything for their money or anything, but 60% does. So that 60% is capitalism, and that's in Google. See, so what we do when we have trouble, we start a business or need financial assistance for something, we're going to go to Google because we don't know anything else. And everything there, the people who give free money are probably in there, but you'll never find them, because you'll put in, grants for business, you get 200 million websites, and it's just overwhelming. And you'll give up, you'll call a few, and they'll say, yeah, we could help you, it'll only cost you X, Y, Z, thousands or whatever. And so you don't have that, and you give up your dream. But they don't know. I don't know, can you go on a website now I could show you, or not? Are you facile enough to go on, here's the website. It's sba.gov. Now, you don't want to deal with the SBA. They don't have grant money or anything, but they have a database you want to use. If you go to sba.gov/ and then local -assistance. So sba.gov / local -assistance. You go there and you put in your zip code. And that will tell you about free local consultants that will help you start any business you want, okay? And so these are nonprofit organizations or government offices. I mean, I got about, 20 or 30 in my area where I live. And what you do is you call and make an appointment. The key to getting money and help in this country is talking to people, not going on the internet.
Right.
Because the internet is all about selling you stuff, and they know how to do that better than you and I will ever figure out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, while you're talking about the SBA too, I know a lot of people probably are aware of SBA loans and things like that too. And some people may not understand the difference between loans and grants. So I'd love for you maybe even to just give the definition of those.
You bet.
So if someone who's listening maybe will understand the difference.
If you're starting out, don't ask for money. See, these organizations are better than money because these are people that, if you're starting something, you're not sure. You say you want a grant. Oh, the difference between a loan and a grant is a grant you don't have to pay back. But if you're going to get a loan, it's good to have it from the government because they're the most liberal if you don't pay back your loan.
And the rates are usually less.
Exactly, and things like that. So it's best to deal if you have the option. But in starting or even growing something, you want to get help on how to grow, how to start. Not just, if you have an idea, you need 50 grand to do this. Yeah, you maybe do from what you know and understand. The problem is, none of us know enough to know that is the only option. You're thinking in your head that's the only option, but it isn't. You got to sit down with people who've seen people like you, 100 times a day, and help them get their businesses going. So they'll show you other things, and also realize that, 80% of the free money the government gives out is not even called grants. and that's it. So you want to sit down with somebody who knows this system, who helps people for free and shows them free sources, knows how to use that 40% of our economy that helps other people do that, because that's hard to figure out. So you need help, one-on-one help, because otherwise you'll just be in Google going around in circles and getting nothing. And there's so many, and most of the stuff is local, especially for businesses. And like I say, it's not only grants, it's free legal help, it's free accounting help, it's free tax help, it's free anything you want. There's even another service that the government has called Apex Accelerators.us. Apex, A-P-E-X, accelerators. I'll probably screw that up if I spell it, but .us. You put in your zip code there. That's a service that the government provides for free that will do all the work you need to do to get a government contract. And see, anybody in business, the government buys more of anything than anybody else in the world. Every Fortune 500 company gets government contract, and that's better. See, if you're going out looking for a grant, that's only one time probably, and they're good and important and stuff like that. But this, if you learn how to get a government contract, get it forever. You could be a freelance writer, in a kitchen table and get a government contract, or cooking hot dogs for some government office who wants them and get a contract. And see, when you start that, it grows and grows.
Right.
See, a grant is one time. My sister framed pictures for the government out of her garage, $1 million out of her garage doing this. But you need to figure out the system, and don't go to Google, because you'll find consultants there that will want you to spend a lot of money
Right.
for them to do this for you when you get it free. That's what I did as a consultant, Fortune 500 company. I'd go to these offices that were teaching me for free. They're just too lazy to do that.
Well, and I've heard for a lot of those, working with the government and getting those contracts, a lot of times they will prioritize those that are like women-owned or minority-owned or veteran-owned.
Yes.
So do you have any advice to the entrepreneur who is just hearing this for the first time and is interested, but then they're thinking, well, maybe I won't qualify or I won't have the, priority because maybe I'm a 50-50 owner with a spouse, or maybe
Right.
I'm, not minority-owned. Do you have
I
any
would say
ideas?
don't worry about any of that, because that's only a sliver of what's out there. And if you're eligible for that, you do that, sure. But 90% is for anybody, no matter who you are. So a lot of people say that about minorities. It's said like, yeah, but wow, it's a very small portion of the total. So even if you are one of those categories, maybe go there first, but the big enchilada is out of there. I mean, I used to give talks at the Veterans Hospital up here, the war people who got beat up and started business. I said, okay, government programs are important for vets, but we have so much more. The government gives out an average of $18,000 to every adult in the United States every year, and it's bigger this year than last year. and they'll be bigger next year. This is unfortunately how we're set up to do this. And everybody, and even the noise that Trump has, I mean, there'll probably be a little inconvenience here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, it won't change anything in the next couple of years. But it does change something 5-10 years from now. You change the, I used to drive ships, and you change the aircraft carrier off 1 degree, man, in 3 days,
Right.
you're in a different continent than you thought you were. So it's important, but not for solving your problems today. You have to ignore it. When somebody says, oh, our budget was cut, you just go to another one. Like right now, you could go, there's another wonderful website. It's called findhelp.org. Findhelp.org. And you go to that website, see, .org. The people who are in the what I call the community economy. So we have a community economy where we help each other, okay? That's the community. Capitalism is, I'll help you if you give me money. It's a community problem.
Right.
We're here to help each other. So in the community economy, if you need to pay for something, go findhelp.org, put in your zip code. Like in my zip code, there will be 5,000 or maybe 3,700, I forget now. But in there, 3,000 to 5,000 organizations in my zip code that give out money and help for free for almost anything. And it's not just a single person. It's like if you're looking for rent in my zip code, you put in, findhelp.org, put in your zip code, and then put in rent. You get 72 organizations that help people for rent. 72, not just 1 or 2 or whatever. So you got a shopping list. It's like marketing, it's like getting a job or anything. You have to start at the top and start asking, hey, do I qualify? And then if they say no, then can you suggest someone else that I may be able to be qualified for? So they all have separate little niches and things like that, but they're a gold mine of information because people in that work, even though they're not there to help you, are helping people like you with similar things. They work on that every day. They go to meetings, they go to conferences and everything. So they pick up intelligence about other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and they'll know better than anybody else you'll know.
And earlier you were talking about, not just getting money, but getting information,
Yeah.
that will help you run your business. Because it
Absolutely.
doesn't help if you get money, but you don't know how to use
Absolutely.
it effectively, and then you run out
That's the
and things
key.
like that too. So I do know there's also like the small business development centers
Absolutely.
and SCORE and
They're
organizations
wonderful.
like that too.
Yeah.
But some people might be hearing where you're saying you put in your zip code and you can find all these people. And some might be like, well, I live in a little town, or I live in, the country, or maybe
Yeah.
there's not as many resources. Is it really specific to that zip code, or can they find some resources?
Oh, if you're not
may
in
be
that
not
zip
their
code,
area?
they'll do remotely. I mean, these people, they're there to help. These are community places, and they know that they're not everywhere, but they cover an area, particularly SPDCs. Now, the website at SBA I gave you have the SPDCs in it and all these other organizations that are local nonprofits that do the same thing, maybe. And that's it. But they know their limitations, and that's why we have online, we have phones,
Right.
That you don't have to be there. And they help and really in rural areas, there's more money than I've seen now in rural areas than ever before, particularly for entrepreneuring. And so you want to call even like a county cooperative extension service. They'll help you start a business too. And they're
Right.
not even in the SBA, lexicon there, that database. And you call them up, and it's all about making an appointment. If you get in front of somebody, talk to them on the phone. That's a person. If you read about me or something and he's probably a shyster, whatever you want to think, but you make yourself human. We want to help humans. We don't want to help
Right.
digits. That's why AI, you're talking a robot, and that's not warm and
Right.
friendly or can't understand the implication and will piss you off first before they even help you because they don't even realize
Well,
it.
and some of the information isn't even accurate.
Exactly. So it's not even. So the best thing to deal with all the crap on the internet is people. Talk to people and go to the people that are on .org or .gov. They're the people who are not selling you anything. See, the problem is, sure, like people go to Google. No, can't go to those people unless you have money. If you have a lot of money, then spend your heart out. But
Right.
for those who don't, still can get anything that you think you have to buy for. Whatever. I flunked English in college, so
Right.
you notice this. And that's, but it's not there, it's not advertised. So you have to do the work to find them. See, the people who want your money do the work to find you, okay? The people who don't have that money to advertise, you have to do the work to find them.
Right. Well, what do you see then as the biggest obstacles for entrepreneurs when they are trying to access these resources, and how can they overcome them?
Google is the biggest obstacle. It's so easy and friendly to use, and oh, wow, look at all this stuff. Oh, it's so exciting. No. I mean, life is brutal. Google is exciting because they want to sell you something and make you feel good. Real life and doing real things, man, that's brutal. But if it's something you want to do, it's more important than anything fancy you see in Google. You know, they're tricking you. It's bait and switch, or just baiting money, or I don't know what it is. It's legal. That's all I know. But there, you have an option, and you don't have to put up with that. Please, 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 talk to people. Talk to people who are in the business to help people like you, and there are hundreds, even thousands, in every zip code, because 40% of our whole America is there to help each other. These are community people. Right. They want you to start a business. They want you to fix up your house. Yeah, they want you to pay your bills. All this kind of stuff. Google doesn't show you that. It's
Right.
in there, but it wants
Even
money.
while you were talking, it made me think, when you're talking, talk to humans and people want to help. It makes me think, a lot of times entrepreneurs don't even think of, talking to a mentor or anyone else who, whether it's in their industry or not, but there are a lot of people that are willing to help others.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes entrepreneurs feel like, well, we're in the same industry. They're going to see me as competition. They're not going to want to help me. And usually that's not the case.
No, I mean, it may be the case. I mean, you got all kind of idiots out there. You can't guarantee anything that people won't do anymore. But it really is. I mean, the basic human need, I mean, and I'm older now, I'm 81 years old, so I'm sure maybe I didn't think of this by in my 30s or 40s. But the most selfish thing to do in life, I think, is to give. Because it feels so good, right? Why do we
pick? That's a different perspective.
Well, I feel it's true. You pick up a little baby and you just, you want to love it so hard. You pick up a little puppy and you want to love it so hard. That's giving your heart to something. So we all want to do that, and that's why it's very selfish. Like I have a community now, and we have 12,000 people. And when I started this a couple of years ago, I thought, I'll never be able to grow this thing, because how many, and we only charge like $20. I used to charge $2,000 for rich people, and I didn't want to help people who didn't need it. I wanted to help people who need it. But what happened is the 12,000 members feel that gratitude they feel, or the heart their heart opens when they give to other people. So they learn about programs, and then help other people learn how to apply to these programs that they just got. And this is what we got 3-4 hours every day of just members that are alive that you can ask questions of on how they got grants or money and help to do that. I forget what the question was. I hope I covered it.
Well, it was just talking about potentially having a mentor or someone,
yeah.
Like people are willing to help each other.
Right.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. And if you run into someone who, isn't able to help or doesn't want to help, then, there's probably someone else
Absolutely.
in your close proximity that could.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge, look at the internet, okay? You got billions and billions of people on there. And like I say, 40% of them are there to help other people. So that right away. But the problem is, they're 40% of the economy, but only 1% of Google.
Right. Well, when someone's hearing this too, and they might think, gosh, there's a lot of things you have to do. There's applying for government aid, there's applications, or there's usually documentation you need,
Yeah.
you know, to support what you're claiming. Like, what would you say to someone who feels overwhelmed, but they do really need to have the resources?
Well, that's right. It's people. These people that give out the grants help you fill them out, but people don't know that. You go to Google, talk about grant, then you run into all the grant writers that say, oh, they're complicated. You'll never be able to do that. And they hire a grant writer. And to me, that's sort of like buying a prom dress before you're invited to the prom. Go out, and the hard part is not filling out the application, is finding the goddamn, the right application to fill out. And that's the important thing. And when you get that, it's downhill from there. You don't have to worry. And if you do, then, well, there's so many help. You could go to Find Help right now, findhelp.org, put in your zip code, like in my zip code, and put in applications, government applications. 400 people that help you with government applications. 400, that means they're all free too. Findhelp.org, everybody there does not charge anything to help people. See, there are people who want to grow their heart. Bunch of selfish bastards. That's what they.
Well, I know we're getting close to the end of the time that we have together today, so I wanted to ask, like, what is the offer you would like to share with our listeners? And if someone wants to connect with you and learn more, how do they find you?
Well, the offer is, I mean, I have a service, but my accountant said we made too much money already, and so I'd rather not. You know, you cut that right off. Yeah, it's the community that we have now. It's called lescohelp.com. And you could join there. It's $20 and I get unlimited help. And like I say, daily, you know, one-on-one to talk to people, how they got the money. We also, you can ask us 100 questions a day. And more importantly, what we also do, I'm surprised that we're profitable. And what we do with our profits is give it back to members. So every month we give out anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 just to members. And we have 5 separate programs that we have every month to give out money back to members. And that's another thing, very selfish to me. I thought you had to be Jeff Bezos or something to do something like this. But no, and I'm surprised even only $20 that we have that kind of profit. And that feels wonderful. And to me, at 81 years old, I just want to see how many more people I can help before I die. And because giving is so selfish, and it grows my heart. You know, when I see at 81, I can't run faster anymore. I can't get stronger. I can't get smarter. All that stuff is going downhill. But I can love harder. You know, and that's what we all can do. And that grows everything inside. Makes it feel nice. Even saying the word love. I used to never ever say it. I mean, I grew up in the 50s and 60s. Man, men didn't say word. Only said love if you got married or something. And now I love saying it because it makes me feel good inside.
Well, that sounds like a great place to end, you know, the conversation. But so I want to thank you, you know, Matthew, for being a guest on my show, you know, talking about this topic. I know it's probably of huge interest to a lot of people who, you know, are struggling and would love to know how to get these resources. So I really appreciate your taking the time to talk about it.
My pleasure. I'm selfish, remember? It's making me happy.
And to the listener, if you enjoyed today's topic and you want to hear additional information, you can find access to exclusive content in the show notes. So Matthew, on average, how long does the process take from start to finish, from an application submission to receiving funding?
Yeah, the length, that's variable. There must be 10 million programs. Everyone has a different thing. Some are only given once a year. Some, like emergency money, you could go right now and go to findhelp.org and put in emergency, and you could probably get $1,000, $2,000 within a couple days or a week or so. So everyone is different. That's why the key is finding the right place for you.
Right. Well, and that does sound like a very quick turnaround where, again, some things may take, you know, maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month, who knows, you know, I'm not sure. But for someone who's listening and saying, wow, it could really be within a couple days, that could help me a lot. That's worth the extra time investing right now in doing all this paperwork so I can get that help.
You bet, and not a lot of paper. Most grants for individuals or small business are 2, 3 pages to fill in the blanks. That's it. You don't need a grant writer.
Well, thank you for that information.
You bet.
All right, great, thank you.
Okay.
That was good.
I
Okay,
hear
so
my phone
what
is
will
going.
happen?
Go ahead, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, yeah.
I was just gonna say, what will happen next is, obviously this is gonna be edited and planned into the schedule. I believe this will probably be in like 5 or 6 weeks or so.
I'll still be here. I
because
got about
I have
10 years.
recorded,
Yeah.
you know,
right.
in the past, you know, to
Right.
carry forward. But what will happen when it does go live, Anessa, my admin, will send all the information, like, you know, the link and a photo that we create to promote the show. And then we send it out through a dedicated email, also to our email list. And we also do like little reels, you know, to promote
Right.
it. And then it goes in our newsletter every month too, where we highlight all the episodes that we've had in
great.
the month in case someone missed one. So we do it multiple ways, and of course we share it on all our social media too. So we will do multiple ways to get exposure. I don't know if you're on LinkedIn too. If we can connect on there too, we'll tag you. So
Okay.
you could also get tagged on LinkedIn. But that's what we'll do to get it promoted, and Anessa will reach out to you to send you everything you need.
Great, sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat
My
with me
pleasure.
today. I
I'm
really
sorry again,
appreciate
I
it.
was so tardy.
That's okay. I'm glad we were able to get you in
Yes.
and get it all recorded.
Great.
So,
Okay.
but thanks so much. Have a
Have
great
fun
day.
with fun with the next guy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.